In this video, we're going to learn the basics of Git, and I assume that Git has already been installed on your computer. If you don't have it installed, then please check out some of the previous videos or just make sure that you get it installed. So once you have it installed, we can create a new empty folder and create a Git repository in it. So I'm going to make this one. I'm going to call it Learn Git. And then I'm going to open up that folder. It's just an empty folder. And then I'm going to right-click, open in a terminal or command prompt. I'm using the preview app on Windows. And I'm going to open this in a code editor as well. Okay, so we have an empty file, an empty folder, and we need to make some files. So the first thing we want to do is, well, it doesn't really matter when you initialize, but let's create a file. I'm going to call this a.txt, and I'm going to make another file called b.txt. Okay, and then we have no way to save our state. So like if you mess up and you can't figure out how to get back to where you were, you might want to be able to just blow away all of your changes and revert back to the last checkpoint. So, there's a lot of stuff that Git can do, but let's initialize a repository first. So if we look at our file browser, we see a.txt and b.txt. And then if we do git init and hit enter, it'll say initialized empty Git repository. And now if we look, if you have the hidden files being viewed, then this .git will show up. And this folder is where all of the Git things are remembered. So like how many branches, which branches, the state, where the head is, everything Git related is stored in here. So let's give a try a few basic Git things. So let's first say that, okay, we have our empty project and we're going to make a change to the code. So in the file A, I'm going to say 1 save, and then in B, I'm going to say 1 save. And then we can see, well, in Visual Studio Code, we can see that there's changes, but they're not committed or staged. So but I'm going to try to use the terminal. So if we type in git status, we can see no commits yet. These files are untracked. So there's no way to get them back if they get erased. So what we can do is we can add them to Git, or we can stage them. So if we do git add a.text, and then we type in git status, now we see we have these changes to be committed. So a.text will remember the changes in the A file. So now if we do git commit with a -m as meaning message, and then we say first commit with quotes, we'll hit enter, and then now if we do git status again, we see that the a.text file is gone. It's no longer in the staged area. And then if you go here to the Visual Studio Code, it's gone. A is gone because there's no changes to the file to remember. So we still have the code and we still have the file. It's just not, Git is just not looking at it right now until we make another change. So now I'll say 2 and we'll save it. And now it's going to watch and pay attention to this pending change. So if you click on A, we can see the differences. So we used to have nothing, or we used to have just the line 1, but now we have line 1 and 2. And when I say differences, I'm talking about differences between the file now and the last commit. So we made a commit and then we added this line here. And so now it's showing all of the changes between now and the last commit. So that's how that works. And we'll look at it in the command line as well. You can do that with git diff. And I forget the syntax. I don't use this that often, but we'll try a.text. Okay, and so we can see here we got a +2. And so let's try to get rid of the 1. Oh, we'll get rid of this 1 line. So we'll save. And now if we look at the changes, we see this line is in red because it's been removed, or things have been removed. And then again, if you look at it in the command line, git diff, we see minus this line and plus this other line here. So that's basically how that works. And so let's say we're like, you know what, I don't like this change. I want to go back to the way things were. So if we go to our code and we just look at the whole file, we see that we have 2, and we should have, you know, just the text 1. So if I don't want any of these changes in this file, then I can just discard them. So if I click here, we can use this arrow here, discard changes, or we could use the command line. So let's try it with the text editor first. I'm going to discard. Are you sure you want to discard the changes? Yes, discard. And then now we are back to the way things were at the time of our last commit on this file. So that's how that works. Let's try it again with the command line. Oops, no, how did I do that? I got rid of this line. Okay, so there we go. So I made these changes, and now we can do git diff a.text. We see the changes, and so I'll run git status now to see that A has been modified. And you can use git restore and then the file name to discard the changes, which is the same thing as what we just did in the text editor. So I'll do git restore a.text. And now we can see here that we're back to the way things were at the time of the last commit. So that is committing and discarding changes. And so I messed up off screen and I want to just start over. So I'm going to right click and delete the Git folder. And that means we have to re-initialize our project. So again, a.text has 1 in it, b.text has 2, and this empty line. Let's re-initialize the Git repository with Git init. That will create our master branch. And now let's make our first commit. So I'm going to say git add dot to add everything, git commit m first commit again, enter, and then now if we look at the git in the text editor, we see there's no changes. And then if we were to do git status in the terminal, we would get a working tree of clean because there's nothing left to do. So now let's try switching branches. So you can create a new branch with git branch -b, a capital B, and we'll name this branch whatever you want. I'm going to name it development. Oops, what did I do? Oh, sorry, it's actually git checkout -B development. Okay, so this will switch us to a new branch called development. And so now if we look at our text editor, we should see signs that we are no longer in the master branch, but we are in the development branch. And so now we can add changes in a different branch, and those will not be reflected in the previous branches that we were in. So let me add 3 to the b.text file. And I'm going to add c.txt. I'm going to say 1 in the C file. So we have 2 changes here. And if we were to commit these in the development branch, so git add dot, git add dot, git commit m dev branch commit. Okay, and then we do git status. The working tree is clean. There's nothing to do. So if we were to switch into a different branch that doesn't have these changes, then we won't have them in that branch. They won't be there. So if I run git checkout master, we can see that the C file is gone. but we can go back, git checkout development without the B because we already have the branch created. We're just switching to what already exists. Git checkout development, and then we get our C file back. And so now you might be thinking, well, how do I get the C file and all the changes in this development branch into the master? Well, or the main. So you can do that by checking out the branch that you want to merge things into. So if I want to merge the changes into master, we'll change into that branch when the working tree is clean. So I'm going to say git checkout master. I'm going to see that our changes are missing, but we can get them fairly easily by just running git merge and then the branch that you want to pull the changes from. So git merge development, and then now we have our C file here. So these are the changes in the development branch. They've been pulled into the master. And so now the master is in sync with the other branch. Let's try to make another change, only this time with a conflict. So what we're going to do is make a feature branch, and we're going to merge it into master, and it's going to conflict with a change in the development branch. So let's give it a try. We're going to make another branch. So first of all, let's see where we're at. I'm on branch master, so I'm going to switch to the feature branch. So git checkout -capital B feature 1. And then we're going to make a change in here where I'm going to change the C file to have 2. Well, I'm going to change 1 to 2. So I'm going to save it and then commit and merge it into master. So git add everything, git commit 2 on line 1 in C. And then we'll merge this into master. So git checkout master, git merge feature 1. So now we have pulled the feature 1 changes into master. So if we look at the C file, we have the line 2, and this is coming from the feature 1 branch. So now let's say we have another developer working in a different branch, and they make a change that conflicts with this. So let's simulate that. So while we're in master, ignore this. I messed up my thought process, so just ignore this. And so we're in the master branch. The c.txt file has the word 2 on line 1. And so this update hasn't reflected in the development branch yet. So if we go check out the development branch, say another developer is working in there and they haven't updated their code yet. If we look at this, the development branch's c.txt file, it has 1 on line 1. And so let's say the developer wants to put the word 3 on line 1. So we write 3, we hit save, and then now we need to merge it into the master branch. Well, there's a conflict. So does C's line 1 have the word 3, or does it have the word 2 on it? So we have to figure that out. So there's a conflict that we have to resolve. So let's commit this change. So git status, git add, git commit 3 on line 1 in C. So git status, everything's clean in the development branch. Let's check out to master and try to merge it. So git checkout master, and we're back to 2 because that was pulled in from the other feature branch. So, but now we're going to try to pull in the changes from the development branch. So git merge development, enter, and now we get these automatic merge failed, fix conflicts, and then commit the result. And so now we get this thing. So because we set the default text editor to Visual Studio Code for Git, it's going to open it up here in this text editor. And I should have closed the text editor before I did that, but oh well. So now we have the option to accept the current change, accept incoming change, accept both changes, or compare changes. So the current thing that we have is line 2. This is on the word 2 on the first line. But this other branch wants to put the word 3 in it on that line. So we got to figure out what do we want to do. So a lot of times, like when working with conflicts, I just like to take it one line at a time. So I'll just delete this, and I'll delete this, and I'll just say, okay, what do I need to do? So, well, you can delete that too. And so then, then you get to figure it out. And so I would like to say, okay, let's have 2 and 3 on here. So we'll save it. And ultimately, you have to decide what you need to do to fix the issue. So in this case, we'll just say we'll put both words on this line. So you save the file, and then we can go hit Git status again. And then we can add, to fix it, we can add this line, or add this file to the staging area. So we'll say git add c.text. And then let's run git status. And so this, okay, so all conflicts fixed, but you're still merging. So changes to be committed, c.text. So git commit -m fixed the conflict, and we'll just leave that as the message. Git commit m. Okay, fix the conflict. Let's run git, that's our git commit message. So let's run git status. On branch master, nothing to commit, working directory clean. And so that's how you resolve an issue. And otherwise, like in the other circumstances, you may have to delete some code, or you may have to add some more code. It really just depends on what the situation is. But that's how you resolve conflicts. And the thing to note about the resolving conflicts is the files work as normal. Like the code is still running. You can have both of those lines, like both of the changes in there. You can comment them out, save it, and then look at the project and see if all the tests pass, see if the UI is working as you need it to, or the app is working as you need it to. And basically you're just working with two people's sets of code inside the file, and you need to figure out how to get them both to work together. So now let's say the master branch gets ahead of one of our other branches, and we need to make sure that the code is up to date in the other branches. So we'll simulate that by adding another file. So I'm going to add d.txt, and I'm just going to say line 1, and then we can commit. So I'm going to run git add dot to add everything, git commit, added d file. Okay, so we should be all set here, but now our development branch doesn't have this d file. So let's go to that branch. So git checkout development, and we have our file missing. Our d file is missing. So you can merge. You can totally do a git merge master, and that will add the d file, but it's going to mess up like the history or the graph. It's going to add another commit to it. And so another way to do this that I honestly don't do that often, so I'm not too familiar with it at this time, but you can, let's go back to the master and add another file. So switch to branch master, and let's add e.txt with 1. So git status, git add dot, git commit, e file added. Okay, and then let's switch to the development branch again, git checkout development, and then we're now missing our e file. So instead of doing a git check or Git Merge, you can also do Git Rebase. So Git Rebase master. Successfully rebased, and now we have our E file. I'll save the differences for later for another video. This is just like a basic crash course so I can have something to show you for, how to work with Git. So we'll talk about rebasing in more detail later. But if you have a conflict, it's basically the same thing. You just have to resolve the conflict and then the rebase should be successful. And I actually think it's simpler to just merge, in my opinion. I mean, rebase is technically the standard, but there's rules about it, like to never rebase on a public branch and just a couple of gotchas that can be dangerous. So I think until you're ready to use rebase, there's nothing wrong with just doing a merge. If you'd like to learn more about this, then I will eventually make an article, but for now, you can just check out Atlassian's tutorial on merging versus rebasing. And I think they can do a better job talking about why rebasing can be problematic. So anyway, that is it. I think that covers the basics of Git for a beginner. Thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe to our channel and click the bell to be notified when we release new tutorials. Also be sure to like the video and leave a comment to let us know what you think. Lastly, check out the link or links in the description. We usually create a blog post to go with the tutorial, and we might have a newsletter or course or something to check out as well. Have a good day, and I'll see you next time.